Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you. Now, Asus BTF. I got a chance to see this when I was lucky enough to be in Vegas for CES in January. A lovely lady called Ting at Asus showed me around it. We had a lovely conversation about it. Lovely conversation about all sorts of stuff, in fact. Work stuff, personal stuff. Anyway, thank you very much for your time and your hospitality, Ting. But I was very excited to get back and try and get my hands on this, and it's taken me this long to get it here. If you'd like more information about all of the hardware that's here today, click the link underneath. It will take you direct to the Asus website where all of this that's here will be. Now, one of the reasons why I was very excited is Asus have gone about it in a slightly different way to MSI, in that they've removed all of the cables for the graphics card as well. MSI still have the power cables on the side of the graphics card. Asus have come up with this ingenious way where they've added an extra connector on the motherboard. And the graphics card has an extra connector on it, and it just plugs straight into the board. Now, we will see how time goes, because there has been many power connector problems over the day, over the months or whatever. But I live in hope that this could be the way forward for everyone. Asus normally have a small thing at the start where they have some like patent on it, and it's for a short period of time, and then everybody else just basically copies afterwards. Normally normally Gigabyte are just chomping at the bit to get in there and just do the same thing. Anyway, but what it does is it does just clear up and make everything super clean and tidy. Now, the motherboard itself is the white and silver TUF Z790 board, and what it does have is 12 VHPWR connector and 3 8-pin connectors as well, and you can use either or. So you can use 8 pins with your 4070 Ti Super if you wanted to, and I think that's a really nice touch. Now, with the board, all of the connectors are out the back of the board, so when you turn the board round, they are all round there, apart from one, which is CPU power connector. And I'm a bit perplexed why they did that, because it's the one that everyone's going to have to plug in. So I just wish they put them all around the back. And if they're really that worried about it, just give you a little extension cable, but I do think everyone's going to be able to have a cable that's long enough that will actually go round the back of the board. I don't know why they left that one there. It does look to me, it's not, but it looks to me like an oversight, and I don't like it. Although, once you've got it in, if you've done it tidy and you tuck it like I have, it doesn't have to look offensive. But with all due respect, once they are all beautifully laid out like this, it's the one thing that then lets it down. Now, the case itself, again, it's the exact same case that I saw in Vegas, and it's the GT302. I was going to say 502, but it's the GT302. Really like the square accents on it, but it's got loads of hidden TUF logos. There's even one on the other side of the mesh that the camera spazzes out when I tried to get it to focus on it. But it's a really lovely layout. It does come with the ability of vertical mount as well. It comes with another bracket, so you can vertical mount your graphics card. Now, if you go BTF, you can't do that because of that extra power connector on the board. So we'd need either a different riser card that did both, or we'd need another cable to be able to power it. Now, powering cables, it's already ringing alarm bells, but I do think it would be a beautiful thing if someone would make it happen. Now, I know Cable Mod got burned with the 90-degree adapters, but let's face facts with the 90-degree adapters from Cable Mod. They tried to do it, they were trying to help, and then it didn't work out. They stood by it, and they've sorted all you out at home as well. So it was unfortunate, but they did the best possible thing. And I do not think, well, I will have full-blown rows with people in the comments, because they stood by the product, they put their hands up and they sorted it out. And there's not enough companies like that, because most companies that have problems like that would have just gone, wasn't us. And they didn't do that. Anyway, so kind of need Cable Mod to make one of these cables now. Please, thank you very much, boys. Anyway, and the reason why I think it would be nice if we could still vertically mount one of these is when the graphics card is vertically mounted, you're not going to have all the cables still hanging out the top. It's still going to look really lovely. and really clean, and I think it's the next step in the evolution of BTF. I do think that most of the other manufacturers are going to follow the Asus motherboard route though, because this is clearly better for graphics cards long term. Now, graphics cards, that is the white TUF BTF, and it's lovely. The only problem is with the graphics card being BTF, there's no other connectors on it. The graphics card does have to go into a BTF board, but if you had this board, you could put a normal graphics card in it. So the BTF graphics card has to go into a BTF board, but a normal graphics card, as in like just a normal one with the normal power connectors, that can still go into the BTF board. So once we've done that, you can vertical mount. If you've not got BTF, you can put normal graphics cards into the BTF motherboard. It all ticks all the boxes. The cooling at the top, I have to look, but it's the Rogstrix LC3, and it's the 360mm white one. The only thing with this, if I'm honest, was the cable for the actual lit up part pokes out at 4 o'clock and then has to come right the way round the top. And there's no other way of doing it. And I do think, I wish they made it so that you could move that around as well. It's the only thing that kind of short pins it. Now with the case, there is a plastic thing where the cables are meant to go through, and it's here because I've already taken it off. Now effectively, if you were to run your normal motherboard cables, they'd come out through this bit here, but as you can see through, and even when you're running it in BTF mode, you can see through, you can see the cables, and also you can see down the side of the motherboard out the back as well. And it's the same with all of them. I've looked at 3 different BTF cases now. You can see all out the back. So what I did was I did a very simple 10-minute mod stroke fix out of a piece of plastic card, which is going to be a pound or a couple of pounds. You're probably going to spend more getting it posted to your house, but I've just tidied it up really easily. You can cut the plastic card with scissors. You can get it in all different colors. It's a really easy and quick way of you being able to neaten it up, and I do genuinely think that with the 302, it is something everyone should do, unless you're going to be running the normal cables. But if I'm honest, you could find ways of being able to even tidy this up with some plastic card and extra bits down the side, because you will still be able to see down the side of the board anyway. So I think even if you have to run this, plastic card could be your friend. Anyway, we run some tests, and the cooling, I'm going to bring the graph up for you. So with the cooling, you'll see it's under 100 degrees. The test system, I want to stress to you, we use Cinebench 24 on. So that's why it hit 100 degrees. It always will do. But then we used OCCT Linpack for the Asus one. It hit 95 degrees. You're wondering why I've done the two differently. Well, the problem with the problem with Cinebench 24 is once it gets to 100 degrees, it throttles. They all will. It's a 14900K in there. So when you say, oh, it's at 100 degrees, it doesn't matter then, because they throttle. So you don't get any further than that, they stop there. So by me using OCCT, it shows you that they don't all go with those sort of things. If you are gaming with a 14900K on this cooler, you're going to be playing at the high 70s, because it fluctuated depending on the game. You can go over to the website and look at the tests that we've done if you're interested. I personally think with this graphics card, this cooler, this setup, I'd probably run the 14700 at a push. But I think the best suited processor, if you're going Intel, if you bought this board, would be the 14600. Save a little bit of money, keep your temperatures down that little bit more, save a little bit power long term, and if it is just gaming, you're really not going to notice a massive amount of difference. You don't need all those extra cores. I think it's a very nice compromise, especially when you're going with a 14700, going with the i5 is a really nice place to go. You can head over to the OC3D website or go and find my video as well, because even that i5 you would be able to do an undervolting on, and I've done a guide to show you step by step how you can work your voltages back in a manual way if you want to. By doing that, you'll probably drop the temperatures a little bit, but the scores will probably go up as well. Anyway, the odd one out in this build that we keep looking around is the beautiful power supply, and it is the ROG Strix 1000 watt, and it's the Aura White edition. Now, it is one of the prettiest power supplies I've seen in a long time. I really like that meshing over the top. It's got the little RGB accent. It's let down by the cables because they're a bit plasticky and they're trying to be braided white, but they're not, and they're a bit thin as well. But the power supply itself is beautiful. Like, the power supply makes me want to rip this cover off and throw it away just so that we can see it. It's a shame that it's hidden. They do a TUF power supply, which is also a shame because someone called Ronnie, I know Ronnie, so don't worry, but he decided that we didn't want to have it in the UK. But Ronnie, we did want it. You should have done it. And they do a white TUF power supply as well. Go and Google it. It's beautiful. But one person made that decision. Anyway, it's quite comedy here today. I'm probably going to get myself into a lot of trouble. Anyway, it's all RGB. There are a lot of splitters around the back, and because they are all around the back, I've tried to tidy them up as best I can. But the clips around the back actually do make your life a little bit easier. It'd probably be nicer if Asus had a little plastic thing that just clipped over the top of where those cables go, because then you wouldn't see them at all. But one of the things I did want to stress to you is the panels are reversible, because you can pull the panel off of the back and you can put it on the front. And what that does mean is you can do it the other way around. And what that could mean for those of you out there that are real cable tidy freaks is that's a really nice way of you being able to show off both sides of your rigs. And I don't think there's enough cases that do give you that double glass option. Now, that's why I'm saying I hope Asus make that available separately. I don't think many of you are going to buy it. For those of you out there that are brave enough, make a couple of little covers around the back, get some custom cables from Cable Mod, which you'll need for that power supply anyway to make these ones look nicer. But after that point, you could make this such a showpiece. It would be unbelievable. You could get some 90-degree 24-pin adapters and run the cables all down super tidy. It could actually be mint. Now, I'm not sure whether I'm going to get in trouble, because normally with stuff like this, it's meant to be a showcase. You just show stuff and do a few minor tests, and that's it. It's about me saying to you, there's a click link underneath. Go to the Asus website because there's a click link underneath. It's that sort of thing. But sometimes I get a little bit excited about stuff. Sometimes you get the enthusiast inside me come out that sees that there are glimmers of opportunity. And that's what I've wanted to do for you today. Show you that you can put glass around the back. Also, you can put mesh around the front. I don't think you'd want to though. But with the Asus BTF, you've definitely got the best back to front graphics card option available at the moment. We haven't seen one from Gigabyte yet. MSI have shown their cards. This for graphics cards and just cabling is definitely the one. So it's just going to come down to how many graphics cards we're going to get from Asus and how many different boards. But I think this is a really, really solid, simple, clean, classic looking system that is just beautiful without these cables. That in reality, you only really need to spend a couple of quid in 10 minutes to do that little plastic card mod to make it sweet. And don't forget what I said. Click the link underneath because they track all those things and it's really annoying.